My mother's name was Gunatai, and she was very a different type of person in the sense that she was very honest, very strong, very bold, very frank, even with Baba. Very disciplined, very practical, just the mirror image of my father, the opposite mirror image. Because my father was on one side rather impractical at times, and he would forget everything before Baba, but she would be always firmly on Mother Earth.
Like Shariar and Shireen.
So when there are the personalities, strong personalities with opposite characters, there is bound to be friction. So there used to be friction also. But before that, I'll tell just little regarding her childhood. She was born, and I already told you, she was born and later on she became the child widow, which was a very horrifying experience, but she continued studies and she studied, and at that time you cannot imagine the untouchable student studying in the class would go on here, the teacher would teach, the students would be here, and that boy or girl would be standing outside the door, and whatever they can listen, that was their lesson by standing there. So those were the days. I am talking about 1915. So she continued her studies and accomplished and passed the first educated lady in the entire family, entire community as a matter of fact. And what happened later on, then she around 19, but she was religious and she would be visiting temples and that. And around 1900 and maybe around 1920, sometime around that period, she in Poona, she visited a saint and asked for the blessings of that saint. And that saint was sitting under the name tree in Poona cantonment. A very old saint with silver white hair and crouched and seated under the neem tree, wrapped in the blanket. And Gunatai went for the darshan. And the saint said, "Oh my daughter, come to me. Aa meri beti, mere paas aa." And called Gunatai and embraced that. And the saint embraced that young girl. And who was that saint? Hazrat Babajan. So that was the starting point. And after marriage with my father in 1930, she was teacher already in the school and she became the headmistress of the school. A big school, 600 students and about 30 teachers under her charge. And she was the head teacher, the principal of the school. But when my father became the educational officer in the entire district rather, then to avoid criticism, she resigned from the education, that job. And she became a housewife again. Because anybody may say that the husband is a big officer, so he is favoring this school, and she is the principal of that school. So just to avoid those controversies. And Baba would go for Baba's darshan and would always attend to Baba's sahavas and would cook, excellent cook. And Baba liked the food that was cooked by her. And once Baba even entered the kitchen where she was cooking and asked her to be away and peeped over the stove and peeped over the pot and what was cooking, and he stirred with his own hand and he cooked. And there she was standing in the corner and silently weeping. "Oh Baba, please don't do it. You are God. Let me do it. I am preparing for you." And the Lord was there. And then he came out in the hall and asked all the food that was cooked to be brought out in the hall. And then he made portions of the food and then served with his own hands to all the people who had come for the darshan in the house. about 15 people. And the food that was cooked by her was liked very much by him. Once in Solapur in the year 1943, when he came along with the Mandali, 40 Mandali, and stayed for a week. For the entire week, all the 3 meals for Baba and the Mandali was cooked by her with her own hands. That was Gunatai. And subsequently, she attended all the sahavas, and she was very bold and as a good organizer. So, till 1958, all the previous sahavas, they were only for the men. So, the women complained to Baba that you have been partial to the males. What have we done? And being so compassionate one, he said, my next sahavas will be the joint sahavas for males and females. So 58 sahavas was the joint sahavas. And thousands came. You all have seen the film. And to control all these people and to control all the ladies that came for the sahavas, there were lady volunteers. And to control all the lady volunteers was the chief lady volunteer. And Gunatai was the chief lady volunteer. That was the chance Baba gave to her. And her biggest experience perhaps in the whole life was the death of her husband, that is my father. And about that I told you. So after he had passed away, and she was so bold, she even spoke to Baba that why are you so cruel to our family? Why is so much grief inflicted always in our family? But she faced everything, and it was a very critical period. As I told you, my father had withdrawn everything that was in the Provident Fund to purchase Baba's books and distribute free of cost. So when he expired, after the inquiry was made regarding the balance in the Provident Fund, it was found out that the balance was 0. And even as an officer, the salary, he used to spend a lot of money for Baba's activities. So it came to such a stage that when he had died, there was not sufficient money for the funeral. So my brave mother, she sold the vessels in the house, pots, utensils, and raised the money and carried out the funeral. Because she was too proud to borrow from anybody else, including my relatives. That was Gunatai. And subsequently, Baba was so kind that he blessed our family again. And my elder sister became a doctor, and she got a good job. I went back to the States. I got a good job. I was in the oil industry, then later in the university. So she would come and stay with us and come and stay with my elder sister. I was in Baroda, my sister was in Bombay, so she would alternate between. And during that period, she wrote her autobiography in Marathi. So she was working on that till the end. And in the year 1975, after so many years of my father's departure, she joined Baba. And then that my manuscript was there, and I published the book of her autobiography, and that is that book in which she has written about her experiences, about that social conditions and Baba's contact and all that. This is in Marathi, but eventually, if Baba permits, I may translate this into English. Because these are the first-hand experiences, and some photographs of Baba are also there, many photographs. So the title is Smruti Gandha, that means the fragrance of the memories. And so also my elder sister Nalini, she was a doctor, and since childhood she was in Baba's fold. To me and to Nalini, Baba would love very much. But to Nalini, when she was a teenager and she was in the school, high school, and she was about to graduate, Baba called her and gave her personal order, my elder sister. What was that personal order? Not to touch any boy. And that she observed till she passed and till she joined the medical school. Because Baba wanted that she should become a doctor. After a couple of years in the medical school, Nalini, my sister, was in a dilemma because she would have to go in the wards and she would have to examine the patient and she would have to touch the patient to examine, without which she could not diagnose. And the patient can, and there may be ladies, there may be gentlemen also. So she went to Baba and asked, what am I going to do? You have given me order not to touch any male, which I have been faithfully observing till now. Now what? And Baba said that, Nalini, I am very happy that you have been observing my order faithfully. And now don't worry when you are going in the wards and examining. When you examine a patient, the patient is a patient, irrespective of the fact that male or female. So look at the patient as a person and examine and do your job. So this advice she followed throughout her life. She became doctor, she became a gynecologist, a very good gynecologist at that matter. And in Bombay she had her own gynecological hospital. Now her children are gynecologists. Her daughter-in-law is a gynecologist. And she would also had a beautiful voice. She would sing many songs she sang before Baba. Fortunately, no time for singing those. And as a matter of fact, I was told in the introduction, she and myself sang our first song before Baba. So that was Nalini, and in the year 2002, she also joined Baba. She merged in Baba, my elder sister. Now that has left only me in the family. And my story, there's nothing much. Already you have heard so many stories. So probably you must have been tired. And the lunch is waiting. So just a few minutes for my story? Yes? Okay. So here is the story of Digambar. Nothing much. The first, to start with my story is the biggest difficulty that I can have. The biggest problem. Because if anybody Baba Lava whom we meet, first question is, when did you meet Baba first? How did you come in Baba's contact? And those who saw him in the physical form, the first question is, when did you see Baba first? And that just floors me, that question. Why? Because I do not know. Honestly, I do not know. I have no recollection when I saw Baba first. Probably it was in his lap. Probably I do not know. Maybe even before that I do not know, because as I said, my mother would visit him very frequently. Many times I come to think of it, there is a child walking, learning to walk, and after say 10-15 years you ask the child, what was the date when you took the first step? Something like that. So during the sahavas also, and Bhajan Mandali, when we used to sing before Baba, Baba would be very happy. And we would sing the chorus, we would sing the solo, and when I would sing, Baba would be very happy too. And he would appreciate, he would sway, he would give the rhythm, you must have seen also. And in the sahavas, in the 50th sahavas, I was about 22 or so, and young and very energetic, and perhaps a handsome young boy. And I was sitting at the feet of Baba, and Baba was sitting on the dais, on the chair, and the service was going on. And it was my habit to carry a diary, and I would write in the diary whatever events would happen. I have got the diaries of the different services dating back. And then Baba was giving a discourse, 1958. And he looks at me, and he looks all over, and he said that, I am very happy that Digambar is taking notes. Because now the Lord is saying, now I am 60, and after the age of 60, a person gets forgetful. So if I forget anything, there is Digambar. Now, just see the love of the omniscient one who knows everything, that who knows our own thoughts before they come in our mind. And he's telling that I am forgetful. Forget Digambar, but anybody would have been there just to give the chance and just to tease him. Oh, he teased me a lot, and I have gone through a lot of his, different moods and this, but it's okay. And subsequently, when I came to Berkeley, he was very happy. Before that, I had passed the examination in first class, standing first in the university, MSc in geology. I did my graduation and post-graduation in India. And when it was conveyed to Baba that Digambar has passed MSc geology in first class and he stood first in the university, Baba sent a telegram. I am very happy that Digambar has passed his MSc in geology in first class first. And I hope that he passes in obeying me in third class. Baba. I still have that telegram. And subsequently, when I came over here, he gave me a series of orders, personal orders. Out of them, one was that I should write a letter to him every 15 days, which I did faithfully during my stay in the US. And I used to write long letters to Baba. Berkeley, very beautiful, very scenic, campus, very active, very competitive. And I was going through the grinding machine, the pressure of the grades. So I used to write long letters to Baba. Every 15 days, first they were very long, then they tended to be repetitive, 10 pages, 15 pages, then they shrunk to 6 pages, 7 pages, because many things were, and I was telling to myself, and in every letter, as per Baba's order, I used to write, Baba, I am fine, my studies are going on fine, and I am following your orders. These 3 sentences, a must in each letter. So I used to send them. Then later on, because the things became monotonous, and the letters became 2-page, and then later became 1 page, and eventually just 1 paragraph. Baba, I am fine. I am following your orders. And I am okay, my health is alright. And like that, I sent some letters. After a few weeks, I received a letter from Guruprasad, from Baba. Dear Digambar, Baba is very happy that you have been following his orders and have been writing to you for all these years. But of late, he has started wondering that you have made a Xerox copy, 1 single letter. It appears that you have got 1 letter, handwritten, original, and you have taken out n number of copies and posting every copy every 15 days. And there I was. So when I went back to Guruprasad, and then I presented myself before Baba, the first question was, what about my orders? And I gave him a detailed account, and he was so pleased. And he called me, and he embraced me, and he kissed me. And that tight embrace, I cannot forget.